Mark out Mania. Mark out Mania. Reviews and yelling. Mark out Mania.
Hola amigos and welcome to Mark Out Mania. This is Dro, and on this episode of Mark Out Mania podcast, I'll be taking a look at the 9th episode of Survivor Caramoan, titled Cut Off the Head of the Snake. But before we get to all that, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, where I post extra thoughts and sometimes artwork at Texan Spaniard, and check out our Tumblr at markoutmania.tumblr.com. With that out of the way, let's get to it. Reality TV. All right, Survivor Caramoan, Fans versus Favorites 2, Episode 9, Cut Off the Head of the Snake. I'm a huge fan of Survivor and have watched ever since the very first season. The first Fans versus Favorite season was a really good one, and this season, which Jeff Probst has been touting since last season as one of the best seasons ever, had kind of a slow start, but has really been picking up some steam these last few episodes. So let's get into all the hubbub of this latest episode. So the show starts off with the recap of last week, then we go right into the next day. We don't get the nighttime camera post-tribal fallout stuff, which was kind of surprising. Stealth or Us, they're talking about how many days they've been out there and how it's all going strong. Reynolds muses that last night's tribal was a victory for him because it was a favorite that went home instead of a fan. We get shots of Andrea, and then Reynolds and Eddie talking about any woman who associates with themselves with them goes home next. So of course they're hitting up Andrea. Testing the waters there. Planting seeds for later that it could be Andrea going home. Malcolm talks about Corinne being his closest ally, but now that she's gone, no one but himself knows that he has the hidden immunity idol, and that they thought they cut off the head of the snake last time, but they don't know yet that they missed their target. And it's off to the theme song. And they come back from commercial. The specialist comments on how hot he thinks Sherry is, and then talks about Michael, better known by Corinne's nickname, the Gay. And Philip gives her a Stealth or Us name, Tenacity, while Sherry talks about playing Philip and him being her new Shamar, which is funny because she said Shamar was her Philip earlier in the season. Go figure. Reward challenge time. They divide into teams of 5. One person has to stand in front of a net as a goalkeeper of sorts, while the other teams have to leap off a dill and try to throw a ball into the net. After a schoolyard swap, purple team has Michael in goal with Reynolds, Eddie, Eric, and Cochran as the tossers. Orange has Malcolm in goal with Philip, Dawn, Andrea, and Brenda as tossers. Sherry was not picked, sits out the challenge, and has no chance at reward. Reward is rappelling down a waterfall and eating a picnic lunch. So Eddie goes first. Philip yells as he goes for the shot, and he tosses it right at Malcolm, who saves. And Brenda's up next, and she scores for Orange. It's Orange 1, Purple 0. Eric's up next for Purple. He scores. Andrea goes up, and she scores. It's Orange 2, Purple 1. Reynolds up, and surprisingly he misses. He's always so good at throwing stuff and hitting targets. Dawn's up for Orange, and Jeff makes sure to note that she's the oldest one in this challenge. That's sure going to get her motivated, Jeff. And she goes, but it bounces off the bar, so the score is still Orange 2, Purple 1. And then Cochran's up next, and Cochran scores! Holy moly, ravioli, Mark Out Mania, Cochran scores! I think I'm becoming quite the Cochran fan. His dance with girls as he gets out of the water is awesome. The specialist is up next, and he stutter steps, then scores. It's Orange 3, Purple 2. Eddie's up next. He improves on his first throw, and he scores. And then Brenda's up next. And to complete the reversal, a first round thread going on here, Brenda's shot bounces off the bar. Oh, my God. It's Orange 3, Purple 3. They're tied up. Whomever scores first next wins the reward. And, of course, Purple's up next. And who is it? It's Eric. Eric steps up, and with all the pressure, he totally scores. Purple win. They all jump in the water and celebrate, with Michael shouting out, "I'm on a winning team!" which is totally in there to say this guy is going home. But yeah, that was the reward challenge. That was fun. I thought that was pretty fun, especially the Cochran stuff in there. Then they're back from commercials, and we get to the reward, and it's mostly narrated by Cochran. He talks about this not being something he would do and how he's a homebody and his doubts amidst clips of everyone doing it flawlessly. They're rappelling down the deal, and then we get to Cochran going down the waterfall and how the first time he was scared to he was scared to take off his shirt, and now he's going down, a waterfall and all this stuff. I thought that was a great bit there for Cochran. Great edit for him. Everyone's eating the picnic, and Reynolds celebrates brodom. They give this horrible pitch to Cochran about an all strongmen alliance domination thing. Reynolds throws in a line in there, is something to the effect of like, hope's gone. He was talking about the women, and he was saying, hope's gone. There's no one left worth meeping. I'm, bleeping it out, meeping. Or something to that effect. And it's like, what? Did he really just say that? And then, he's like, let's bro down. Reynolds says, which, for some reason the phrase, like, I don't know, just made me want to, like, punch their faces in. It's just such a stupid phrase. And then Cochran then's eviscerating them in his confessional and calls them numbskulls. Go, Cochran! And then we see the reward losers come back, and Malcolm goes to scrambling. He targets Sherry and Dawn, viewing them as being on the bottom. Who knows why. He talks to Sherry first. Sherry I understand, but Dawn I don't understand. He talks to Sherry first and pleads his case that they are on the bottom. The favorites are going to take out Reynolds and Eddie first. Why not join up with Malcolm, Michael, and the meatheads and make a 5 to 6 person group to take out the favorites instead? Sherry's just nodding her head, but you can tell she's not buying it. Malcolm puts his case to Dawn next. Dawn, the one you do not tell stuff to. Dawn is playing along while giving confessionals about Malcolm being a problem and how he has to go. And then Sherry, Dawn, and Andrea are discussing it as Philip listens, and Andrea comes up with telling Malcolm they'll go along with it and split the votes on Reynolds and Eddie, but they'll really take out Malcolm. And so the specialist cements this plan in a confessional, and Malcolm's in trouble. Ay, ay, ay. Or so they want us to think. They want us to think Malcolm's going to be in trouble. And then, another commercial break, and then we get this weird thing with Andrea and Eddie at the lagoon, with Andrea going on about island dating, and both of them fake flirting with each other to fish for information and maneuvering. Eddie says he'll vote however Andrea wants, except for Reynolds, and Andrea sort of suspects him for his holdout on Reynolds, and says that maybe she can keep him around vote to vote. The googly-eyed faces and expression here were so fake and annoying. I don't know. It just kind of got on my nerves. But I mean, I get what they were going for. So then we get to the Mutiny Challenge, and in this week's episode, the Mutiny Challenge is torture. They have to get under a grated steel barrier in the water, and as the tide rises, they run out of airspace and basically get to drowning and panicking. Torture. Cochran has to give the idol back, and everyone gets in position. Jeff was like some evil narrator going on, "You're running out of space," turning the screw on them. And Philip's the first one out, then Sherry's out next, followed by Eric, then Dawn and Andrea. No, not Dawn, not Andrea, sorry. Who's out after him? After Dawn, excuse me. Oh, I see. Okay, Dawn was out, and then Eric commented, "The waves suck." Then Malcolm was out, and then Michael followed after him. Then Eddie, Reynolds, and Cochran were all sort of bow out at the same time. So it's down to Brenda and Andrea. And Andrea's struggling quite a bit. She keeps trying to stay in there. She's fighting to stay in there while Brenda's just never wavering. And eventually Andrea is out. She can't do it anymore. And Brenda, who never gets any airtime or confessionals, wins it. Yowza! And they have to go tell her that she wins, and she comes up to big cheers with woo 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 woos by Philip, and way to go, Brenda! You got individual immunity. Maybe you'll get some airtime soon. I mean, really, they're trying to turn her into Purple Brenda. Give her some airtime. I've seen I watched the secret scenes, that they put up on YouTube and stuff from CBS and all that, and we get to see Brenda talk from time to time. So it's like, why can't they put like one of those on the show? Why can't any of it make the show? So I hope we get to see Brenda sometime, especially now that she's won an immunity. But everyone congratulates Brenda after the break, but she still gets no words in. Even in the congratulation, we hear everyone congratulating her. We still hear nothing from Brenda. And then Malcolm goes to scrambling to make his moves happen. He talks to Andrea and Dawn, and Andrea says, they're going to split the votes, but of course they're not. They're trying to play Malcolm while Malcolm thinks he's playing her. And Andrea compliments Dawn on her new game, and Dawn does a really convincing job, though. But her confessionals tells us, what we need to know, that she's playing Malcolm, and that Malcolm is just not dialed in. And Malcolm tells Reynolds to show Dawn the idol, and they'll have Dawn, which of course they won't. Reynolds sits next to Dawn and shows her the idol, and then he tells her, if you screw me, you're going to have hell to pay, basically. That's what he's saying, and it's like, what the hell, Reynolds? And Dawn's, then owns them on confessional, and saying, shame on you, Reynolds, for showing me the idol. Shame on you, Malcolm, for trying to bring me in. And then Eddie goes to talk with Andrea, and we're all about to get dumber. It's like the dumbest conversation ever that goes down. I'm not even going to attempt to translate or transcribe the conversation. All we need to know is that Andrea comes out of the conversation with tears and paranoia that she's going home. She changes her idea. Now she wants to put the vote on Michael because it's the safest vote, because she doesn't want to go out. And Cochran doesn't like it, Philip doesn't like it, and Dawn especially doesn't like it. Dawn freaks out over this screwing up their game and the chance to get rid of Michael, but it's too late to change plans now, right? Oh man, the Andrea-Dawn conversation was intense, but we'll see. As we'll see, Andrea's fears are not without merit. So it's tribal council time. I loved when Michael was pleading his case that even though the favorites didn't use him last time for the tribal vote, they can use him this one or the next one. And Eric's interrupting it by pulling a bug out of Andrea's hair. That was awesome. Goofy music plays as Philip explains Stealth or Us to Probst. The main point here in tribal, Philip says too much and gets Malcolm freaking out. You can see the wheels turning in Malcolm's head. We get to the vote. Jeff goes to tally the votes and asks if anyone has a hidden immunity idol. And Reynolds going to play it. But wait. Malcolm says, hold up, man. Hold up. Malcolm says that the whole story that Philip was saying was about him. And saying that they voted for him. Give me your idol. And Reynolds gives Malcolm the idol. Holy moly, what's going on here? This move only works out if they had voted for Malcolm, but everyone's faces during this tells you that he has no votes, and this is like a wasted move. So, first vote's for Andrea, second vote is for Andrea, third vote is for Andrea, fourth vote, Reynolds, that's the one that Malcolm threw on Reynolds. Then the fifth vote, Michael, sixth vote, Michael, seventh vote, Michael, eighth vote, Michael, ninth vote, Michael. And then, of course, 10th person voted out. And first member of the jury, Michael. And when he gets torch snuffed out, Michael says, you turkeys, then flips them off. Har, 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 har. I have to say, Andrea's paranoia saved her well here. If they had gone through with their plan to vote out Malcolm, and Philip gives the speech he gives at Tribal, then Malcolm gets paranoid, and he plays Reynolds' idol, and then Andrea would have been the one to go home. She deserves big props for listening to her gut and fears and sticking to the safest vote for her. And it's not just the safest vote for her, the safest vote for her allies too. The fact that she got everyone to go with the vote on Michael when they seemed set on Malcolm maybe does lend credibility to Malcolm's observation that Andrea is the real ringleader of Stealth or Us. For Malcolm, if the what-if scenario had played out, this would have been one of the best moves ever, from, reading Philip and, the vote and then, getting someone else to use their idol on you when you have an idol. That would have been something. But the scenario didn't play out. And he's going to have to explain his vote for Reynolds and face being on the outs with Stealth or Us. But lucky for him, he has a hidden immunity idol. If he loses the next immunity challenge and is on the chopping block, he can turn everything around with that hidden immunity idol. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens. Next time, apparently, Dawn is going to lose it. What's going on with her? Yowza! She even threatens to pull herself from the game. Danga, panga, manga. It looks crazy and intense, but I suspect there is a swerve here. They want us to think she's going to leave when she's not. Just my suspicion. This is a really good episode. This season is definitely picking up steam and becoming really good. I hope it continues to get better and better as it goes. I liked all the strategic maneuvering in this episode between Malcolm, Dawn, and Andrea, and I also love the Cochrane stuff, scoring the reward challenge, owning the Bro Alliance for their idiocy in the confessionals, and doing well in the immunity challenge. I can't wait to see what happens on the next episode. So that's going to do it for this episode. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Again, follow us on Twitter at Texan Spaniard, and check out the Tumblr at markoutmania.tumblr.com. Thanks again, and adios.